Hey guys, I am going to rant today about the next gen. I can't believe how they're just dropping like flies at the US Open 2017. It is very disappointing. Very disappointing. Want to get your guys' opinion on it. Driving to work right now, going to teach some lessons. But the thing that kind of set me over the edge, and I know he is not hey, thanks for the thumbs up. I know he is not a next genner, is Dimitrov went out last night in straight sets. So, and I know that he is a little older, but he's still one of the younger guys, and he just won at the Western Southern Open, and got to see a lot of really, really talented people play at the Western Southern Open. And I loved Zverev. I thought Tiafoe, he impressed me more than I thought. And then you have Kyrgios, who just destroyed Nadal. We know Kyrgios, though, is a different animal. But it's like time for these guys to do something. It's time for them to show up and start winning some of these. Don't you think so, guys? It is very frustrating to see that once again. And I love watching Roger and Rafa as much as anybody, right? I love that matchup. I love that they've had a resurgence. But what does it say about our tour that we just can't get anyone to break through and beat some of these guys and win a major? And, you know, I think for a long time people have been saying, well, it's just that the top four, the big four, they're just so great. It's impossible to break through when you got to go through Nadal and Federer and Murray and Djokovic and Stan. But this tournament shows that it's not that. They all had a big opportunity. So many players have had a big opportunity this US Open to step up with those guys being out. And, you know, Matt, I don't know where Matt is. Matt is back from vacation, though. He was out at the courts last night. We had a good time. Thanks for asking. And I'm sure Matt has his opinion on this, too. The new guys don't know how to win ugly. I think that's a big part of it, right? Is Roger Federer right now, I think someone just hit on a big note, is Roger Federer right now is showing how tough he is. We know that he has a beautiful game, right? And he's a great champion. But what he's showing right now is he can grind matches out. The guy has a lot bigger heart than I think he's even been credit for, because he's so talented, because all his shot making is just so awe-inspiring. You take for granted about how freaking hungry he is to win matches, still at the age of 36. And Roger has just grinded out 2-5 sets. Obviously, he's not feeling the ball the way that he normally does. Whether he's still hurt in the back or something like that, I don't know if he's hurt or if he's just rusty, but he's grinding. And these guys are just not grinding. When I went to the Western Southern Open, I looked at Gerald Donaldson, and I'm like, that guy's awesome. And then I watched Kyrgios destroy Nadal. I'm like, this guy is so freaking good. I wish he could get his head together. And then I saw Alexander Zverev. He just won the 2 tournaments in Washington and Canada, and I could see he was tired against Tiafoe. And I'm like, okay, well, I can see he's tired, but look how talented the guy is. He's obviously a star, and Tiafoe is better than I thought he was. And Dimitrov ended up winning the tournament. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, Dimitrov is so good. It's like watching Federer, except for he's obviously not. And then here we are on day 4, and they're all gone. They're all gone. How does that happen? Disappointed with Nick. These guys are just like not stepping up. And when you look at the history of tennis, and I think one thing that's kept tennis healthy is you've always had someone who's next up. Who's next up? You had Borg come on the scene. He started winning. Look, some people are like giving these guys a pass, saying that they're still young. You know, let them mature. But Borg, by the time he was 25, he had 5 Wimbledons and 6 French Opens. By the time he was 25 or 26, then who knocked him out? A young McEnroe came up and challenged him and and basically sent Borg packing. Then after that, Lendl, who is already playing great and a champion in his own right, but Lendl basically then knocked McEnroe off the pedestal. So we had people that were in their primes being knocked off the pedestal by somebody else. And then you had, after Lendl, then you had Sampras and Agassi come along and dominate the game. And you had your Beckers and your Edbergs. We're just not seeing that anymore. You had all these guys come up and knock someone off the pedestal. Now we have Federer and Nadal for like 20 years straight. You had Djokovic come along, certainly Djokovic, right? He's earned the right. He's won 12 and Murray's won 4. But these young generation players, this was the golden opportunity. This should have been the showcase for them to finally step up and show that they're ready to show us something for the future. And I'm just ranting. I don't even know what it is. There's different theories on they're too spoiled, there's too much money, or Federer alluded to the fact that no one can really come to the net like they used to and finish off points. Do you think Federer is hiding a back injury? I think Federer is definitely protecting the back. I don't know if he's hurt. Kyrgios really needs a coach. But, all right, Kyrgios even needs a coach. Kyrgios loses the other day. Like, I really like Kyrgios, too. He's very frustrating. Listen to this, guys. He loses the other day, and he's asked about Sebastian Grosjean, and he says that he doesn't even deserve to be, he says Sebastian Grosjean should be with somebody else. He's like, I don't even deserve that coach because he's a really good coach, and he's wasting his time with me because I'm not hungry enough. Like, who says that? Like, he's got a great coach, and he says, I don't even deserve this coach because I'm not hungry enough. I think Zverev is an obvious choice. And then someone just pointed out Dominic Thiem. And thank goodness Thiem is still in the tournament. Right now, I guess if we're going to look at anybody, I think you got to give Dominic some credit because he did great in the clay court season. He had a solid French Open. And he looks like a workhorse. He looks like he really wants it. And Shapovalov, maybe you give him like he's the next guy, but I don't think he's done enough yet. I know some people I sent out an email today, and some people are talking about, well, Shapovalov, what about Shapovalov? Now, he's 18, he's phenomenal. I would love it if he would step up because he has got a beautiful game. He's fun to watch. He's very flashy like a Federer. He's got that lefty. I'm a lefty, so I love that lefty serve he's got. But it's too early to call. Like he beat Nadal in a smaller tournament, and now he's beaten Tsonga. But it's too early to say he's going to be consistently good because all these guys we're talking about, they have shown flashes of brilliance, and they've had some big wins. But when it comes to the majors, when it's 3 out of 5 sets, they just don't step up, and it's getting frustrating to watch. It's getting really, really frustrating. And I don't know what it is. One thing I was thinking about, what it might be, because they are doing well in these 2 out of 3 set Masters tournaments. They're getting some big wins. They're getting to semifinals. They're getting to finals. Occasionally they win one. And maybe it's just that right now, if you look at a lot of junior tennis, they're starting to play 4-game sets. They play 2 out of 3 sets, and then they play a tiebreaker for the third. They've been doing that in the United States now for probably 10, 15 years at least. And maybe what it is, I'm sorry I can't read all your comments because I'm driving. I'm catching some of them. But maybe what it is that these guys are so conditioned to just play 2 out of 3 sets that I don't think it's their physical conditioning, but maybe mentally they just don't know how to problem solve once they get in a longer match. Like, one thing that's cool about watching Federer is time is on his side when he gets in a 3 out of 5 set match. We know he can blow people off the court, but when he gets behind, he knows he's got time to problem solve, and he's figuring it out, clearly not playing his best tennis. And Nadal's another one of those guys where even yesterday, perfect example. Look at what happened yesterday. Nadal loses the first set. He comes back and wins the next 3 sets easy. So obviously the guy is there to grind. He's there to problem solve. Federer, he goes 5 sets, 2 matches in a row, figures out a way to win when he's clearly not at his best. Dimitrov, who just comes off winning the Southern Western Open in Cincinnati, which he played unbelievable tennis, he goes down, loses 3 sets in a row. I think what happens when these guys get down, the longer match actually hurts them. They see the comeback challenge as too great, and they just mentally fold and check out and give up. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. They're just not ready mentally to go. The prospect of going 2 weeks in a row and winning 3 out of 5 set matches, I think it freaks them out. I don't think they believe that they can do it. I don't know. Why don't I play? I'm a coach, and I'm 44, and I'm just here as a fan. I'm just here as a fan talking about what is going on with the next gens, okay? That's what I'm here to talk about. And I'm just wondering what you guys think. I'll be reading all the comments when I get off. But it's very, very frustrating to me, because the reason why I'm frustrated is I like these guys and I love tennis. I like Kyrgios. I like Zverev. I like Dimitrov. I want to see them do well. And I think it hurts the sport of tennis if Federer is like 39 or 40 years old and then he starts to lose. Because it's like, at that point, is it really a changing of the guard, or is this Federer, we don't want to see, I always like to see someone step up and take it from a champion rather than the champion just retire and now you hand it off to a bunch of people who haven't proven themselves at all. And the other thing that I find interesting is that these guys now have their own tournament at the end of the year, okay? These guys are getting their own Next Gen Masters tournament. Like, why are they getting this? What have they done to deserve that? Can anybody tell me that? What has that? Yeah, why is that Milan event existing? What is there about what they've done where, like, oh, these guys need a tournament because they're just doing so great on the tour? I don't think that they should get a tournament like that. What do you guys think? Can you still win money from competitions? Guys, I coach. I don't play anymore. I'm a coach. But I am also a big fan, and I think it's frustrating. I think that these guys, maybe it is entitlement, because maybe things are coming too easy to these guys. Because why are these guys getting their own special tournament at the end of the year when they can't even win? They can't even get out of the first week. They can't even get out of the first week at a major consistently. It's not like this has just happened. It's like every time there's a major, you look at all these people out. They're just out the first week consistently. Every time you get excited about one player, they just disappoint you. And that's why I think I'm on this rant, is because I got super excited in Cincinnati thinking these guys are awesome. And Stan's out, and Djokovic is out, Murray's out, and Federer and Nadal, you don't know, Federer was hurt, didn't play Cincinnati, Nadal has struggled on the hard court. It's like, it's time. This is their time. The U.S. Open is their tournament to do something. And they've all lost. And so now it's, again, the whole tour to me is so fragile on Rafa and Roger. I don't like that the whole ATP tour has to rely on just 2 players. And if they lose, no one cares. Because that's how it is. Because the other guys don't deserve the respect that if those 2 lose, who are you going to really get behind? Because no one has shown that they deserve the backing. Roger and Rafa have shown, like, okay, they deserve your support. They are going to fight. They're going to be there at the end. And you can get behind them and rally behind them. And I thought the U.S. Open was a good chance for these guys to step up and start to get us ready to start rooting for a new breed of tennis. And it's just not happening. And by the time they finally do, you know, beating a Rafa or Roger will not have the same credibility. You know, you beat a 39-year-old Roger, well, that's what you should do. Roger at that point should not be winning many matches on the tour if you look at the history of the sport. And yet at 36, where he still shouldn't be winning, he's still dominating. He's not just winning, he's dominating the tour this year at age 36. Do you think Bernard Tomic is done? Bernard Tomic, yeah, did he even play the tournament this year? Yeah, he's clearly done. Yes, Tomic is done. Yeah, I think he's done. You know, I still think Zverev has a big future. I still think that Dominic Thiem has a big future. I was encouraged to see Tiafoe at the Western Southern Open and what he did against Roger. He's really the only one who gets a pass from me, as he played Roger. That's the one guy who wasn't really supposed to win, who he lost. But all the other guys who are out, it's like, come on. And Dimitrov, Dimitrov would be so great for this game if he could step up. He's a great personality, and he's got a beautiful game like Roger. People would really get behind him if he could start winning. So I don't know. Maybe it's Shapovalov. He's only 18, and if he could step up and like do something, that would be pretty awesome. If I had to put my money on two guys right now, I would put it on Zverev, who I can't believe he lost the first round, and I would put it on Dominic Thiem. And that guy is the one guy who is consistently stepping up. He plays a ton of tournaments. He did awesome in the clay court season. He was definitely the second best player in the world in the clay court season. Him and Nadal dominated the clay courts. So he seems like he's most mature and ready. And then after that, it's just like, you know, can you really put your money on anybody? Yeah, the guy who beat, I think I said Court beat, but what has he done? He was looking promising, then he went away. So none of these guys are consistently doing anything. They once in a while show up. But that's my rant for today, guys. And Grigor still has to start to believe. Yeah, but I agree. I think Grigor has got to believe. But why wouldn't he believe after he just won that Masters 1000? It's like, you did very well against Nadal at the Australian Open. You should have won that match, but Nadal just grinded it out. And then you win the Masters 1000. You can't go into the US Open and not even win a set. He got destroyed, guys. He got destroyed. It's 3 sets. I think 2 of the sets were 6-3. So that's my rant. My rant is I want to see someone step up. It's happened. It's happened all throughout the history of tennis, where you've had McEnroe come along, Borg come along, Boris Becker came from out of nowhere. You know, that's what the great ones do. They don't need several years to make their stamp. If Federer came along and beat Sampras at Wimbledon, it shouldn't take you to your 24, 25 to start doing something. As long as I can think back to when I started watching tennis, it was always a young gun who came on the tour and did something special. Like, I remember watching Boris Becker win, I think it was, what was it, the 86 or 87 Wimbledon? I forget when it was. But it's like, man, I'd never seen anything like it. He was a huge guy. He had a huge serve. He was diving on the grass. And he just came and claimed that tournament. By the end of the tournament, you like realize, okay, this is his tournament. This guy has come to play and win. He's taking it from the older players. Agassi and Sampras did the same thing, especially Sampras. When Sampras won the US Open that one year and he came out and destroyed McEnroe, and then he's hitting 119-mile-an-hour second serve aces, and he just claimed it. And these guys, like, they have the talent to make a stamp on the game, but they just don't. Del Potro, well, he's not a next-genner. I mean, he's a veteran, you know, so... And I don't think he can go through 2 weeks being as big as he is and with only a slice backhand, which is not his fault. It goes to show, again, how gutsy a Del Potro is that he has figured out a way to make a very good living on the tour and beat a lot of players with just a serve and a forehand and mental toughness, because his wrist is still not 100%. It never will be. And so we're never going to see, when he came out, he was crushing two-handed backhand winners down the line against Federer when he took that US Open. But now he's got to slice all his backhands and just massage a two-hander. So there's where we're at. We're just kind of like in a holding pattern to see who's going to step up, who's going to be the one who comes out, and they're running out of time, because it's gonna lose its effect when they start to do. The older Nadal and Federer gets, winning a Grand Slam, to me, loses its effect. Like, if one of those young guys would have won a Grand Slam at this Grand Slam, I would have said, okay, they had a big opportunity because a lot of the legends are out, but it's still respectable because you had Federer and Nadal playing great tennis, and they came in and won. But, you know, if they start doing it 2 or 3 years down the road, it loses its appeal of, it's not impressive. It's just not. And for me, it's still going to be hard for me to get behind them. I'm just like, they are just starting to become champions out of default. So maybe life has been tougher for young people. Oh, come on, please. Djokovic grew up, you know, in wartime. So that's it. Let me know what you think. If you like my comments today, give me likes. Do you think John Millman will make it any further? Maybe, but he's not. Look, Millman's not going to be like any, you know, Kyrgios, who lost to Millman, he's special. He doesn't want to be special for whatever reason. Kyrgios does not want to be special. It's like a curse to him that he's so great. Millman's not Kyrgios. And if Kyrgios were to just accept his role of the talent he has, he could be a Grand Slam champion. Kurik, I don't think he's got the big weapons to do it. Do you think Kyrgios has the best serve? I think Kyrgios' serve is amazing. I think Kyrgios is a sick talent. Like, you watch him play a lot. When I watch him play Nadal, and you see when he's on, you're like, who can beat this guy? Like, his serve is incredible. His forehand's amazing. He mixes up pace. He can toy with the best players in the world. And then he loses to Millman. Like, come on. And he's I love how his shoulder is hurt, but then he smashes his racket down with his dominant arm as hard as he can. So what is that about? Yeah, Kyrgios too many forehands off his back foot, but that's not his problem. Kyrgios is not losing because he has forehands off his back foot. That's the thing that's amazing about Kyrgios. Kyrgios can hit a forehand off his back foot and hit it 100 miles an hour and hit a winner right past you. That's what makes him special. Kyrgios is not about his technique on anything. Kyrgios can hit any shot in the book. He'll be the first one to tell you he's just not that into it. He said, my preparation here for the US Open wasn't any different at the Western Southern Open. At the Western Southern Open, I was going and playing basketball 2 hours a day, and I was eating ice cream. He just doesn't want it. That's all there is to it. I think Zverev wants it, but he's for whatever reason, he can't take it. All right, I think my thing is running out. I think my connection's running out. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this rant, and we'll see you on future videos.